There's something very satisfying about jumping back into Diablo 4 with a brand new campaign chapter and a brand new character class. Vessel of Hatred, the game's recently released $40 DLC pack, is to my mind well situated and fully stocked, if perhaps a tad pricey, adding to the party that new playable class, new items, an additional area to explore, a multitude of gameplay and UI tweaks, and of course, a brand new story chapter. I haven't played Diablo 4 since it launched in the summer of 2023, and the overall experience is much more stable and user-friendly. Plus, the new class, the Spiritborn, is a blast to play. I set mine, a little hellion I like to call Chelsea, for an all-poison power set, though the character comes equipped with count them four avenues for potent elemental destruction. Each is exemplified by a specific jungle-themed animal archetype. A jaguar with fast and aggressive attacks, an eagle for mobility and evasion, a gorilla, defense and strength, and my favorite, the centipede, for poison and crowd control. The Spiritborn is similar in many respects to Diablo 3's monk class, which was my favorite to play in that game. It's nice to see another mobile tank type featured once again in this series, and the class's addition to the game makes the playable lineup even more formidable. The Spiritborn is kinda like the Druid class too, what with all the animalisms, but because he or she is faster and more melee driven, there's something very tactile and engrossing about the way he or she can be utilized. Basic attacks, like most of the other classes, both generate and then expend spirit. Lots of them are fist and magic based, again very much like the aforementioned Diablo 3 monk. But the sheer power of some of the more impressive abilities scales up from there. When a massive spirit gorilla lands on the screen to pummel everything in the surrounding area, you can't help but feel impressed. Or my favorite, again, the poison archetype, which presents as a giant centipede that spews venom at foes, executing some and weakening the rest, so that when you step up with your fists of fury, the demon hordes crumble in your wake. I'm into the overall direction of this most important element of Diablo 4. Now the game has 5 really fun playable classes. Well done. Yeah, Blizzard is always in the business of buffing and nerfing and nerfing and buffing, until the character you started the game with resembles but doesn't necessarily play like the character you have at the end. The player community of Diablo 4 has shrunk substantially since launch, mostly due to things like lingering glitches and repetitive endgame activities. But the Vessel of Hatred expansion could help with that. The class systems in the Diablo series have historically almost always been outstanding. But this time around, I have to say, this is what I feel, Blizzard has outdone themselves. As for basic gameplay, Diablo 4 is, at its core, all about systems that back up systems. Once you get all the slaying and looting out of the way, the game makes the most addictive use possible of better and better gear, more powerful gems to socket into them, a leveling system with class-specific roadmaps and mission sets, seasonal battle passes, mostly locked behind a paywall, but not entirely, pets and mounts, transmogs, the Paragon point system, variable difficulty levels that scale enemies, somewhat customizable player skins, an entire built-in online PvE suite, and a host of minor tweaks to formula, menus, powers, and abilities, class power ratios, and gosh, there's just so much here that makes this game so fun and satisfying to play. The joy of first setting out and slowly accruing all these things is only eclipsed by the continued tweaking after the fact that can be done with things like equipment rerolls or the aforementioned Paragon point system. Then there's also the unique power sets that can be unlocked by fulfilling your character's special mission parameters. So you get back out there and grind through all these demon types that progressively increase in power output, difficulty level, and number. And you get more loot and maybe upgrade or break the loot down for better loot and just sell the loot and you'll level, get stronger, get more invested, go back out there and slay some more. And you repeat the process until your eyes bleed, or something like that. And though, as I mentioned, this new DLC is a bit lean for the price, an additional chapter set at the end of the core campaign serves to lengthen and add intrigue, drama, and even more cool opportunities for dungeon crawling. I'm not sure I can speak in a comprehensive way about all the systems that back up systems in Diablo 4, but I can tell you that from a narrative perspective, Vessel of Hatred only enhances the game. The new chapter focuses on the continued plight of Neriel, who helped you defeat and kind of soul swallow the primeval Mephisto. Players will spend most of the DLC tracking her down detective style, but the real sparks doth fly eventually, and it's your responsibility to try and contain Mephisto once and for all. Good luck with that, guys. A certain sense of tragedy pervades this new chapter. Neriel is a sad and lonely character, charged with a job she's simply not strong enough to perform. Yes, this is a dark and foreboding fantasy world, with demonic forces baying for your blood at every turn. But all its blood and evil does little to influence the genuine pathos the story manages to wring out of its approximate 10 to 12 hour runtime. The new explorable area, Nahantu, is approximately 40% the size of the original Diablo 4 map. So there's lots to see and lots to kill. In addition, there's a new raid for advanced players to tackle called the Dark Citadel. This bad boy requires level 60 characters and probably shouldn't be tackled unless you've put in some additional endgame time. But hey, it's included. And so are special loot rewards when and if you manage to conquer it. So why do I say the expansion as a whole is a tad lean? Again, the base DLC is $40, and the beefier versions grow in cost, my friends. Most of the stuff included in those versions seem kind of filler to me, but let's just stick with that $40 edition. Yes, it provides at least 10 to 12 hours of additional campaign action, plus new endgame opportunities after that, but everyone knows Diablo 4 is mostly about the grind. As good and as fun as the grind tends to be, and it is quite often a blast, 12 hours of it amounts to maybe a couple hours of actual narrative development. As ever, this is still about the loot, and to get the loot you gotta kill, kill, kill. It does get repetitive eventually, and sooner or later you will wear down and want to stop playing. The question is, how long will that take? How many comprehensive hours can you wring out of this thing before you quit? So you'll have to decide for yourself if it's worth it or not. Have you tried Diablo 4? If not, then stick with the main game and decide later if you want to add Vessel of Hatred. If, on the other hand, you've played the game, love it, and you put more hours into it than you plan on spending on your next job hunt, then by all means, purchase this thing immediately. Because it is fun, and for my wife and me at least, it was worth jumping back in to see how everything's been expanded and tweaked. Truth be told, we could have played New World Aeternium instead, but I told my wife about Diablo 4, said it had some new stuff, and she wanted in. So there you have it. My review of Diablo 4, Vessel of Hatred. We had a good time with this. Maybe not as much and as lasting as we'd have hoped for the price tag, but color us impressed. And for the most part, perfectly satisfied. Diablo 4 Vessel of Hatred gets an 8 out of 10 from Jeff Bowles Central. That's all there is to it. Now I gotta get back out there and slay some demons before Blizzard nerfs my centipede god into, I don't know, like an earthworm or something. Like this video and subscribe to the channel if you're so inclined, folks. Click the notification bell to stay updated on all my latest content. I make gaming, music, and mental health discussion videos, uploading at least a couple times a week. Alright then, I'm out of here. Have a good one, everybody. There's no room for slay and pray. We kill what we loot, and we loot what we kill.
I know you, you know me, running around low and not meant to be. Control you, control me in our past life.